my children like my mom beat us. I'm gonna tell you something. We got it made because mama was doing exercise on us. And daddy wouldn't do nothing. He'd leave the room. Boy, I can't take this. I used to ask myself, Daddy, where you going? She beating us to death and you gonna leave? Because Daddy would feel sorry for us. I'm gonna tell you something. You wanna know how kids learn to give God some praise? The whooping they used to take. They used to shout, dance, and stomp and everything else. But Mom didn't beat around no bush. And she used to say things like, this gonna hurt me more than hurt you. Gonna hurt me more than hurt you. But I thank God because what it did, it gave us a foundation to let us know you do something wrong, there is a consequence you gotta pay. And they didn't play no games with you. If your teacher whooped you, you getting another whooping at home. That's the way it was. And I thank God for it. Look at our children today. Look at the foundation been laid for them. It's not bad in everywhere. But the majority of it is bad. Majority of the people want better for their children than they want it for themselves, and that's okay. But there is no foundation for what they want for them. They give them everything they want, then they get lazy and don't want to do nothing. My mom and dad told us when we get out of high school, you gotta get out of here. You gotta get out of here. You can't stay here. But I was ready to get out. And this is just to show you how I didn't have the right understanding. Because I was ready to go get away from Amarillo protection. Well, God is blessing me. God is protecting me. God is providing for me because of them. But here I am with my ugly, stinking thinking, I'm going to get out of my own and do what I want to do.
That's the way we do it.
And you know, sometimes you got to let them do that.
That's right.
Sometimes you got to let them beat their head.
Yeah.
But see, if you laid that foundation for them, when they beat their head, then they'll know what to do. When it comes to, oh Lord, I got to get back to church. I got to get back on my knees. I got to ask God to help me. But if you don't have that foundation, the first thing they'll do is go to alcohol, go to drugs, go to everything that's against the Lord. And you know something? It's very difficult for a person to obey directives when he do not have a good understanding. Understand what not David, but his son Solomon. Solomon, when God said, what do you want? He could ask God. God already knew his heart, already knew what his thoughts were. But he said something that's powerful. He said, just give me the wisdom to go in and among your people so I can rightly divide right and wrong. He didn't ask for money, fortune, fame, women. God knew his heart. And here's what's so awesome about God. When God do something for you, he don't half step. God gives you always way more than what you deserve. Amen. He gave him everything. Everything. But later in life, he learned a powerful lesson.
Hey, yes, he did, didn't
Everything he had wasn't about anything.
he? That's right.
When you don't have God in your life.
That's it.
When God is not there, you get tired of it. You use, you abuse, and you won't treat things right according to God's purpose and for your life. But when God's in the equation, then you'll help others. You'll be a blessing to somebody else, and not so much as yourself. Many people are getting a higher education, earning more degrees, but they don't have common sense.
Well,
Or even a mother's wit. A mother's wit is simply good old everyday common sense. A mother could see when you're off the right road before you can ever get off of it. She can sense it in how you talk. She can sense it in what you do. She can sense it in your actions. Now you can look at mothers and think they don't know nothing. But if you just listen, they can help you to avoid a lot of things that you're going to do in your life. If you just have the common decency to listen and hear what they're saying and obey it. If you cannot understand simple things or natural things, it will be almost impossible to understand spiritual things. Proverbs tells us to get wisdom because wisdom is the principal thing. Wisdom is knowledge acquired, but understanding tells a person how to apply the knowledge that wisdom helped him to acquire. Wisdom is the ability to think and act using knowledge, experience, common sense, insight, and understanding. Because of the situation at home, because some people are on drugs or alcoholics, you got children having babies at very early ages. And then they end up taking care of their parents. And because of that, at a certain age, they think they're grown. Because they've been put in a grown person's situation. Now, you can't tell them nothing. You can't tell me nothing. I'm grown. I'm taking care of my baby and my mother and father. Something is wrong with that picture, Sam. David said in Psalms 119 and 34, give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. The law is already available for each person. But if you don't understand it, how can you observe it and keep it? It should not be an embarrassment to a person to ask questions when he doesn't understand. I used to tell my son when he was in college, and he would say, Daddy, I didn't quite get what the teacher was saying. But I said, well, and he said he was too scared to say something in front of the class because they laugh at him. And I simply told him this. I say, son, if you don't know the answer, then you the dummy, you don't get it.
that's true. That's true.
You have to ask a question. You don't have to necessarily ask in front of the class, but you can go to the teacher afterwards and get an understanding of what she truly wants from you. Don't act like a dummy. And especially when you don't know the answer. If a person desires to do what is right, he needs to understand how to do what is right.
That's true. That's true.
Many times leaders assume that believers automatically know certain things.